The advice and informational content does not necessarily represent the views of Mother's Market and Kitchen. Mother's recommends consulting your health professional for your personal medical condition.
Hello, I'm Kimberly King, and welcome to the Mother's Market Radio Show, a show dedicated to the truth, beauty, and goodness of the human condition. On today's show, there's an incredible superfood called black rice, and one company has a mission to help feed starving children all around the world. Listen up and find out what you can do to support this worthy cause. But first up, Michael Thielen is the founder and president of the Black Rice Project. Michael has been in the health food industry for over 20 years, serving many capacities from the wholesale side as both national and international director for supplement companies. Michael's passion for healing moved him to begin seeking out rare and exotic superfoods, which has led him around the world, and he is now the largest raw material supplier of the sprouted black rice brand complete in the U.S., and we welcome him to the Mother's Market Radio Show. Michael, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing great, thanks. Why don't you fill our audience in a little bit on your mission before we get to the show's topic?
All right, well, our mission is, as was covered in that little introduction, our mission is to really establish an avenue for complete foods. It comes under a lot of titles now. You hear the word functional foods. In fact, that's a category now in Whole Foods. They have a specific category called functional foods. Whole foods, superfoods, you hear a lot of, kind of different markers for that arena of supplement. What we're really after is trying to go to different regions of the world and find functional foods that serve a purpose, not just for nutrition, not just for survival, but as you're consuming them for nutrition, can actually remedy problems that you have in your metabolic processes. So what we want to do, our key is to try to bring those foods in the exact form that they exist in the culture of origin. So we're trying to, a lot of companies do things that they find something that's great in another land, and then they start looking, okay, what do we do to make it easier to ship? How do we cut down the weight? How do we get past the FDA, in a cheaper way? So that leads to kind of like a degradation of the food itself. So our main goal is to find these super functional foods and bring them as close as possible to this country in the origin that they exist in the culture where they're consumed.
Very nice. So today we're talking about the benefits of black rice. And so I wanted to start by asking you, what is sprouted black rice and why does it need to be sprouted?
Okay, the main reason is, for example, where we first encountered this super functional food was in the mountainous regions of northern India. It's called the Black Rice State. It could be northern India, northern Thailand, northern Burma. All our rice happens to come from Thailand. But when you go to these regions, they don't eat anything that's classified as a seed. We have a lot of cute names for things that are seeds. We call them legumes or nuts or rice kernels. These are all seeds. Seeds are heavy with a component called phytic acid. Phytic acid is provided by nature. What it does is it keeps a seed from breaking down. So if every time a seed hit the ground from a plant, if there was no phytic acid, the seed would lay on the top of the ground. It would sprout without any, supportive soil or moisture, and the seed would just die laying on the surface of the ground. And all plant life would die, basically. So nature provided phytic acid within the seed. Phytic acid is an enzyme inhibitor. So the presence of phytic acid keeps a seed from sprouting to life. Now, phytic acid is neutralized by lack of light, so darkness, and moisture. So the seed can fall from a tree, lay on the top of ground, not sprout. Over time, dust, wind, animals makes the seed get buried in the soil, so it's not exposed to light. Then when it gets moist, that phytic acid is neutralized, and that seed comes to life and grows a plant. It works great for seeds. It's horrible for humans. So that same phytic acid that inhibits enzyme release in a seed also inhibits enzyme release and activation in the human body. So it actually prevents digestion of the very foods that we're eating. So sprouting is a way of neutralizing that phytic acid so that all the enzymes become active, do what they're supposed to do, break down the food, and now this food is bioavailable for our body just because phytic acid is neutralized. So that's why we sprout it, so that it can be a raw food, but it's yet available for the human body to consume.
Wow, that's fascinating. I've never heard of this, and that's amazing, and it's natural.
Because there's a lot of things, products out there that are called sprouted products, and all they're doing is soaking them in water. And because there's no real FDA standard for sprouting yet, so they soak stuff in water and, put it in a package and call it sprouted. Well, if you don't see a sprout on it, it's not a sprout. Because phytic acid isn't neutralized till there's a sprout on the seed. That's when that life force, when that sprout breaks free from that seed, that's when you know phytic acid is neutralized. And this is a big concern now, because it's not just like the hip thing to do, because diverticulitis, I don't know if you're familiar with that. This is a serious condition. So people that have diverticulitis can eat sprouted seeds, but they can't eat non-sprouted seeds. So you go and somebody that has a serious condition, or maybe their kid has diverticulitis and they've been told to go out and look for sprouted foods. They're going out and look at a bag of sprouted seeds and they're trusting that it's sprouted. Well, there's no standard for that yet. That just might be a seed soaked in water. So it's really a key issue for us.
Wow. How is this eaten traditionally?
Traditionally, the first time I had it was in northern India. Like, it's northern. I don't even think they call it India. Like, you say I'm in India, they look at you, they don't know. We're just mountain people. But I saw the symbol. I don't know how to translate the symbols, but I saw the symbols everywhere. It's all the characters. Everything's labeled by characters. And I saw this character everywhere, and I started recognizing it because it was so many places. So I was doing another job for another company, scouting a source up there, and I saw on the menu there was no pictures, there was no English. I was trying to order some food. I was really hungry, tired, and I saw that same symbol. So I just ordered just based on the symbol. It came in an opaque plate. It had candles under the plate, so it was glowing up through the plate, and it was just the black rice with all the bran intact, which we'll get to later. None of the bran is removed, and it was sprouted, but it was roasted. So they take every seed they eat. In fact, I ate sprouted coffee fruit up there. Everything they eat is sprouted in this village, which was traditional. That's how, until we needed to ship things like really far and make money off things, everything was eaten sprouted. Seeds were stored for planting and sprouts were eaten. So I started eating that. It was just amazing. I was lit up. Energy, and I could feel that. It's like, sounds like an exaggeration, but I could feel it digesting as it hit my stomach. Like, how stuff sits?
Yep.
It's gone.
Yeah.
It goes down, it's gone. It's just dispersed. So they like to roast it. You'll see out on the farms, like where they sprout, like if you go into where they're sprouting in the village, they'll be eating it raw.
Oh my gosh.
Fresh sprouts, just like taking it as they're working, just putting it in their mouth and eating it. But if you go into a restaurant, they like to roast it. It adds a little flavor and, a little crunch, and people like crunch,
right.
So.
And just to make it different.
Right. So, but it's always eaten sprouted, but it's sometimes raw, sometimes roasted, depending on where you are.
So how is this different from the black rice you find in grocery stores and than the ones that we cook?
The biggest difference is the rice that is sold as a food, it's got an FDA classification as cargo rice. Cargo rice by the FDA classification needs to have a 3-year minimum shelf life because it has to be harvested, bagged, shipped, go through distribution, get on the shelf. So they needed to be able to last that long. The black rice in its true pure form is so rich in essential fatty acids and different types of oils. It's really suspect to rancidity. So it will go rancid really fast. So the FDA won't allow whole black rice to be shipped in cargo rice form to this country because they're afraid it'll go rancid. So in order to ship black rice and sell it in the United States, a minimum of 95% of the bran has to be milled off the rice kernel. And the bran is where all the, good stuff is.
Yeah.
Inside, rice is all white on the inside. It's all just starch, which is, by the way, until rice is harvested, it's liquid. That's starch, it's liquid starch. Until you break the life cycle of rice, that's when the starch hardens and becomes a kernel. So all rice is white on the inside. The different color of rice is nature's idea of how to keep this seed alive and protected through its life cycle. So not only do they mill 95% of the bran off, they're still a little worried about rancidity because when they were doing 95% milling and they were bringing it into the country and putting it on the shelves and it was in bags, they were seeing the bags swell because it was still, even with 95, it's so rich in oils, which is the good thing. It's so rich in oils that they were seeing the bags swell from the rancidity. So they also started demanding some type of treatment, whether it be a heat treatment or some type of treatment to the rice in addition to milling all the bran off. So when you buy black rice for food, even though it's better than eating white rice, it's a fraction of how the food really exists in its true form.
Wow. Oh, this is interesting. We have to take a quick break, so stay with us right
Absolutely.
now. Yeah, don't go anywhere. We will be right back. More with Michael Thielen.
At Mother's Market, we only want to sell the best products available. This is why we carry Organic Smart Chicken. Organic Smart Chicken is free range, GMO free, and air chilled. Organic Smart Chicken is the only chicken brand in the United States that is both certified organic and certified humane, and we think it's certifiably delicious. Smart Chicken is the highest grade of fresh poultry. Available at all Mother's Market locations. Learn more and become a Smart Chicken fan on Facebook. www.facebook.com/smartchicken.
Welcome back to the Mother's Market Radio Show, and we want to remind you that if you missed any portion of today's show, you can always find us on iTunes by searching Mother's Market or download the show from our website, mothersmarket.com. Click the link for radio and listen to past shows, plus download our healthy recipes and money savings coupons, all available at mothersmarket.com. And now back to our interview with Michael Thielen. So what makes black rice a superfood?
Well, I think, superfood is a term that's thrown around a lot. A lot of things have come under the umbrella of superfood just because, they do one or two things good.
Yeah.
I think the reason this is a superfood is because it is a total functional food. It basically does everything good. Everything. You could walk down the aisle in a store and you could buy 7, 8, 10 bottles for specific causes or specific remedies to a specific problem you have physiologically. This product has all that in one food. It's nature's complete food. In fact, our mission statement is reviving humanity's relationship with nature's most complete food. It has a lot of antioxidants. Like before now, antioxidants have always been in a snack. So like blueberries, high in sugar. Well, if you have a diabetic kid, you don't want to pump them full of blueberries. How do you get antioxidants into a diabetic child? Well, this is a protein-bound antioxidant. So the antioxidants are released in a different place. It's low in sugar. It's high in fiber. It's gluten-free. It's got a complete, stunning amino acid profile. So you can gather a bunch of bottles off the shelf and look at it, and it still doesn't stack up to this. So I call it a superfood because it represents so many categories and so many effects on the body, and you could remedy so many causes with it Plus, it's a food. You could live on it. You could treat a lot of causes. You could still get those 10 bottles. You could treat 10 causes that you have that you need to remedy physiologically, but you're still not eating any food. You'd still have to still eat a sandwich or still eat food or still have some clean protein. This is a food and covers all those other functions. So to me, that's a true superfood. It takes care of things. It adjusts problems. It sends messages to the body to correct itself, but it's still a food. You could live on it. You could, in fact, we have a lot of, there's the survivalist thing going on. We have a lot of companies that they're just, they're thrilled about this just because it could be, stored as a survival food. You could pack this in your warehouse, have nothing else, this and water, and you could survive. It's a complete food, and yet it's medicinal. Okay, so one of the first companies to trust us and bottle this and do some of the heavy lifting for us is Eclectic Institute. And their statement on the bottle, you can read it, let your medicine or let food be your medicine and medicine be your food. This is a classic example of that statement. It is your food and it functions as a medicine. It is your medicine and it functions as a food. So to me, that's what the true definition of a superfood is.
I like that too. And it does, it speaks to itself both. It's the round.
Exactly.
It's that boomerang effect.
Exactly.
What is Brand Complete, and why is brand so important? Let's talk about that.
Brand Complete is what I referenced earlier when I was talking about the difference between the cargo rice, that is black rice that you can get in the store, and then our product. Brand Complete is, as the rice grows, the same way it's grown in the field, all the bran that surrounds the rice kernel is left on. We have a special milling process. All it does is pull the husk off the rice, and all that bran is left on. Bran is where all the nutrition is. Everything is in there. Bran, of course, because it's not just a catchy name, bran. So the bran is in the bran. The antioxidants, which are also called anthocyanins, they're in the bran. Most of the protein is in the bran. The circulatory abilities that it has, all the neuroregulators, everything's in the bran.
What health conditions can be improved with this product?
Wow.
Yeah. Now this is the meat and potatoes of it.
Yes, it's a long list, and then we have to start quoting scientific studies.
Okay.
But I can reference, without trying to make it all about our product, it's common scientific knowledge that any health condition can be improved by antioxidants. We all know what antioxidants do. So it's anything from anti-aging to overtoxicity to immune modulation. Antioxidants do all that. So any condition that you have, antioxidants can improve. I can reference an example though. We do a lot of work with some cancer clinics in Europe. These clinics, their major problem is, and AIDS clinics as well, their major problem is trying to get their patients to maintain lean body mass. They have a problem where if they can't eat food and swallow it, they get sick, they just can't get it down. Right. They take isolated protein supplements and the body just flushes it right out with no absorption at all. So they were at a lecture we were doing, I think it was in China, and they just decided to give it a shot. Like they listened to the spiel and like, okay, whatever, let's see if it works. They had tremendous results with their patients, maintaining lean body mass. And they were writing me and everything, very excited, and they were saying, now we just have to figure out why. Well, no matter how clean your food is, when you eat food, when it starts to digest, there's a toxin released. For most of us, when we're in a healthy state, the body can handle that release of toxins. It's no problem. But when you're in a condition where you're taking a lot of drugs for what's wrong with you, or chemotherapy, your body is in a high toxic state, when that food starts to digest and that toxin starts to be released, your body sends out an alarm and it flushes that food without absorption because it's trying to keep the toxins down because you're already, in trouble. So what turns out to be the case with this is, because it's a whole food and because the antioxidants are bound in the protein, when this food starts to digest and those toxins are released, so are the antioxidants. So the antioxidants neutralize those toxins. The body doesn't sound the alarm, goes ahead and absorbs the protein. Now all of a sudden these patients are maintaining lean body mass and they've never been able to accomplish it before. Wow. So it's like you have, and what they're doing is you don't need to do anything with this. It's in a powder form, as you guys see. Yeah. You put it in purified water. They're taking 2 tablespoons, 3 or 4 or 5 times a day, doing the multi-mealism practice, and they're maintaining lean body mass. And then, of course, their chemo's working better. Their drugs are working better because the system is fed. There's less stress because of the starvation effect. So it's a domino effect, and everything works better.
Congratulations. So how is this the perfect food?
Okay, the perfect food, I'm going to go with transport. If you fly to northern Thailand, you could eat this food exactly as it's supposed to be eaten. What we do is get it here so that you can eat it as close to possible how it is culturally correct in the origin of growth. So what we do is, I talked about the special milling process. We leave the bran on, we sprout it to neutralize the phytic acid, but then the most important thing is we freeze dry it. So if you were to dry this, you would lose a lot of the enzyme effect. You would, a lot of the, powerful nutritional effect would dissipate. So we freeze dry this. That freeze drying takes all the moisture out of it. It preserves it in its original state. So you can get this product, basically it's fresh. It's exactly like you would consume it over there based on the freeze drying. And that's a 3-day process. We get it from the farm to our mill one day. It goes into the sprouter the next day. It goes into the freeze dryer the very next day because they're all on the same site. This is all completely our project. We control from the farm to the freeze dryer. So from the time this rice is picked, 3 days it gets into this bottle. Wow. So it's a perfectly fresh food as well.
And you mix it with water?
You can mix it with water, you can bake with it, you can put it into cookies, into breads, into soups. The easiest, most convenient way, because there's no toxicity, so we don't want to put it in capsules because you can take as much as you want. So the easiest way is just to take water, stir it in the water and drink it. But you can put it into smoothies for kids. What we have a big program going with autistic children. They mix it in yogurt. So you just take, whatever flavor yogurt they want. It mixes great, and they eat it. We're having amazing results with this program we're doing with autistic children as well.
Wow. Is this a complete protein?
It is a complete protein. The amino acid profile is outstanding. It's well balanced, and we haven't messed with it. We haven't altered it. We haven't tried to boost one amino acid for one cause or another. So the good thing about a complete amino acid profile that hasn't been altered is your body's going to decide how it needs to be used. So when you do a full antioxidant profile, your body takes it in and says, okay, I need a little more of this, or I need a little more of that. So we're not making the decision for you. Your body's making that decision.
So it'll balance that out.
Exactly.
Wow. Tell me a little bit about your famine relief.
Our famine relief project, what we really wanted to do when we were all sitting around saying, okay, do we want to, because we knew we were going to beat our head against the wall. Anything new and hard and that nobody's done before. If nobody's done it before, it's either because it's not any good or it's extremely difficult. Well, this one we knew it's because it's extremely difficult. So when we were sitting around trying to decide whether we were going to make this commitment or not, we started thinking about famine relief. We were meeting with a rice co-op up in northern Thailand. And there was a guy there coming, and they were trying to turn black rice into the new food. And we were trying to explain to them why it probably wouldn't be successful as a food, in the big way that they want it to be. It takes longer to cook, a list of examples. And we were trying to say that, really you should support a company that wants to make it a nutraceutical. And they're talking about why, and we're like, okay, you could go to, you see all these companies, putting money into sending white rice to starving children. It's got no nutrition. They ship it whole. It's heavy to ship. Most of the money that people donate to feed children to go to that rice goes into shipping because it's incredible, cost to ship heavy rice. This is reduced in size by 12 times from what it is. The moisture's taken out of it. It's cheaper to ship. All of a sudden we start going, we could be like feeding children.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll go through all this, but our real goal is, this stuff makes incredible cookies. We want to start a direct ship. We're working on it. We've got the groundwork laid on a direct ship charity. So we're making cookies out of this stuff. And if you want to, let's say you give $100, you don't have to just wonder where it goes. You can go on the website, buy $100 worth of cookies, and pick the village you want those shipped to. And we were in that meeting, and the guy was asking me, he says, well, okay, so I need a comparison, because he was trying to do the economics of it. He said, I need a comparison. How many bowls of white rice compares to one of your cookies? And I couldn't even give him an answer. I said, there is no comparison. This is complete nutrition. One cookie will they'll be, better fed in one day from one cookie than they have from weeks and weeks of white rice, because white rice has no nutrition. It has a glycemic effect, so it's promoting diabetes. This is low glycemic, it's high in protein, it's got all the nutrition. I can't even give you a comparison. And he stood up and walked out. I thought he was mad, but he didn't come back in. His secretary came back in and said, throw the other people out, we're going with those guys.
Oh my gosh.
So our real goal is famine relief, because life's short.
Yeah.
It's a struggle to make money on anything.
Yeah.
But, if you have a greater goal, then you can get through all those, bumps and head knocks that you go through. And that's why we like this team effort. And that's why people like Mothers and other stores and just the industry in general. It's one thing to go in and try and tell them to sell this because, I want a new Jaguar. But it makes your day pleasant when you go in and you say, well, look, we need you guys because this is where we want to get to. This is what we want to do, but we won't get to there without you guys. We need you guys to sell this. We need you guys to make this popular. We need you guys to, explain the riches of this so that we can get there, so that we can get to famine relief, because this could change kids' lives.
You can see your passion, and I love that. So this is great.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for your time and all your research and your passion. It's infectious.
You're very welcome.
Michael
Thank you
Thielen.
for the opportunity.
Absolutely. So thank you very much for your time and some great advice. We really appreciate your knowledge, your research, and we look forward to having you on again. And in the meantime, you can get more information on Michael and your websites, eclecticherb.com and theblackriceproject.com. We look forward to your next visit.
Thanks for listening to the Mother's Market Radio Show and for shopping at Mother's Market.
The advice and informational content does not necessarily represent the views of Mother's Market and Kitchen. Mothers recommends consulting your health professional for your personal medical condition.